This episode is made possible by New Masters Academy, the world's absolute #1 online art school. Click the link down below for a free 7-day trial. Thank you, New Masters Academy. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Honey and Absinthe After Hours Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Vincent, a background designer for animation.
And I'm Janet, the ex-Disney artist turned independent creator, and this is a podcast about all things art, business, and whatever we feel like.
Now today we're going to talk about how artists are fighting back. Sort of.
Before we get into it, make sure to smash that like button
over there,
because it really does help us out. Please and thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, in the last episode, we talked about how big major news, WB is releasing their entire 2021 movie lineup. They're movies that should be showing in the theaters. They're showing it on HBO Max, which is huge, very, very big news. And we talked about sort of how this could affect the industry moving forward, and what the other studios are going to do about this.
Since then, a lot of more news has come out. It's basically other people's reactions, artists' reactions, director reactions, and stuff like that. And we wanted to continue that conversation because, I mean, this isn't going to stop being news for entertainment, and our jobs will be affected. Well, your job.
My job.
Your job will be affected.
People who work in Hollywood.
Yeah, not me anymore.
No, not you anymore.
But I thought it was really fascinating to see what the artists, the directors basically, what their reactions were, because I think it's simultaneously hilarious and just an interesting aspect of human nature that people don't speak up about these type of things until it finally affects them personally and their dollars.
And the artists, basically the directors who came out and made statements about what was going on. These are big directors. This is Nolan, Patty Jenkins, Denis Villeneuve. You know, like his movie's coming out, Dune, which is a remake of David Lynch's version of Dune, and everyone's like, oh, this one that Danny's making is gonna be the true imagining of Dune that we've all been waiting for, and now no one's gonna be able to see it.
Well, they can if they get HBO Max. Christopher Nolan, Tenet recently came out. Patty Jenkins, Wonder Woman.
Right.
And before, I guess we will read their statements, their opinions about all of this, and then I guess we'll react to their opinions and other people's opinions about this kind of thing too.
Yeah, so since we talked about this, the directors have spoken. So I'll read Nolan's I don't know. He said this in, what is this, The Hollywood Reporter. Nolan said, quote, "Some of our industry's biggest filmmakers and most important movie stars went to bed the night before thinking they were working for the greatest movie studio and woke up to find out that they were working for the worst streaming service. WB had an incredible machine for getting a filmmaker's work out everywhere, both in theaters and in the home, and they are dismantling it as we speak. And they don't even understand what they're losing. Their decision makes no economic sense, and even the most casual Wall Street investor can see the difference between disruption and dysfunction." What do you think about that? There's another quote that I'll read, but what do you think about that so far?
It's
especially coming from Nolan, INTJ, as you love to say.
I think it's...
What does that mean, by the way? It means that, like, you and Nolan share... the same principles.
Share the same personality, basically.
Cool.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I think it's... He has, like, 3 that we found. 3 statements.
Yeah, I'm gonna read just like 2.
This statement I think is funny because I think this is the most honest, like, anger statement, and because it has the most shade. It has the, like, oh, it's coming out on the worst streaming service. It's not the worst, but in terms of, like, size, I guess you could say that. So, like, if you're...
I mean, it just came out,
yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking at that statement, I'm like, that's some INTJ sarcasm there.
The economics of it are unsound unless they're purely looking at movements in share price. Number of eyeballs on the new streaming service. Theatrical is really only one part of what we're talking about here. You're talking about your home video window, your secondary, tertiary windows. These are things very important to the economics of the business and to the people who work in the business. My point is, when you think of the film business, you need to think of working people as well as highly paid, high-profile people on the theatrical side as well.
So what I think about a lot of these statements is you can look at it in a lot of different ways, depending on who they are talking to and what you think their motives are. For saying these things. And the interesting thing about this one is, like, there's so much technical Hollywood stuff that I think a lot of people just don't understand sometimes when they're reading entertainment news, because what he's talking about is basically residuals and how the manner in which directors, producers, executive producers get paid. Not people like us, not like the laborers, not the crew. Usually we don't get paid like this. We get paid like an hourly project-based fee that we charge. We're like freelancers in a way. Directors and a lot of times in live actions, sometimes in animation, and producers, executive, like I would say Hollywood has a kind of like class structure. Or like, there's the top executives, and then they're like the lower tier executives, and then they're like the producers.
It's like a little town and then with its own economy.
Yeah,
right?
Kind of. So,
like a little kingdom.
Yeah.
In Burbank.
Yeah, LA. Yeah. So we typically don't get any royalties. We don't get any residuals.
We are the commoners.
Yeah, basically.
We are the rabble. We are
Yeah.
not so important people.
And then the tier above.
But us people get to say we work in Hollywood.
Yeah, still. Yeah. So that's like the one thing we get.
Yeah.
And then the tier up from that, I guess, like directors, and then the tier up from that I would think is like producers, executive producers, and then a tier up. There's always more until you get to like the top people at the company, I guess. And for the most part, directors, some and higher, get residuals. And in a way, what you can think of as like royalties. So like however a movie is shown, they'll get money from it still.
You talked about how, I remember you told me something about how like if a show, let's say on Netflix, had more than 4 or 5 seasons, it officially gets syndicated and people get residuals.
Yeah,
and things like
on like network television.
Oh. Wait, they haven't figured that out on streaming.
I don't think so.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Interesting.
Because like the thing with streaming is the same problem as this, where like because Netflix and these streaming services aren't transparent with their numbers, it's not clear how residuals get paid out. Because like before, you can count on like a box office to be like, oh, we made X amount of dollars. From that amount of profit, you can kind of calculate the residuals that are due to each party. So like if something made $1 million, a certain percentage of that would go to directors and producers and whatever as residuals. But if Netflix doesn't tell you how much money they made, and how can you tell? Like, is it like, oh, X amount of people watched Mulan, therefore Mulan gets this amount of money? Like, how do you know? So there's a whole problem with residuals, and it's just complicated because all of this is classified under like new media as long as it's in streaming, and a lot of that contract negotiation stuff is just always like a struggle to figure out the terms and how people get paid. The nice thing about like directors and up is they get residuals from like network television, or they get residuals from their movies, and I mean, it kind of means like once you got paid, you can still keep getting paid even after the first like, oh, I made the movie.
Yeah, even I think actors like to be producers in a movie, even though they have to like put in for the movie, even because they get residuals after the movie's released.
They basically make a lot more money than if they were just paid to
just act.
Yeah,
right.
And that's there's a whole lot of mumbo jumbo in Nolan's statement about that, and I felt like his point was like, us directors and higher echelon people will be fine, but you know who won't be fine? The little guy, the theaters and the exhibition people. And you'll notice that like these other people who have complaints and all that, they don't mention anything about the exhibition people, the theaters, AMC, all these people. It's interesting that he's like the only director that cares.
And I'm Christopher Nolan, one of the greatest directors of our time,
and also an INTJ, which makes a lot of sense. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, why would I have like crucified myself on the internet like the way that I did if I didn't care or some semblance about the little man? And then here, like, Christopher Nolan just openly like, I guess I'll be fine, and like the rich people will be fine, and it's kind of a shitty move in terms of like, I want my art to be seen in theaters, but at the end of the day, I'll be fine. But you know, the theaters, I don't think they'll be fine, and that kind of sucks. Interesting statement from him.
Man, and then you wanted to talk about how he probably came up in thinking.
I was thinking really hard about like all of this, all the director statements, and in particular Nolan, because I like his movies a lot. And knowing that he's kind of similar to me in personality, I was like, that's really interesting that like, I guarantee you all these people, all these directors, artists, I like to call them, it's not like they didn't know all the things that I talked about in my Why I Quit Disney video. I mean, I think to a certain extent, once you start working in Hollywood, if you want to make a career out of it,
you have to eat the shit.
You deal with that reality. And I was thinking about like, how does an INTJ stand to do that, basically. And I thought like, if I had gone Nolan's route, I think I wouldn't have quit either. And I would have thought like, as a young filmmaker, let's say, I would have thought, well, I have to eat the shit now.
So we were talking about how like he must have started from The Following, and then like he got noticed, and now he's like finally breaking in. He's doing what is it? He's working with small studios making. Oh come on! What's before Insomnia? Memento.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah. There you go. And then he's getting noticed. Oh, all of a sudden he's in talks to direct the new revival of Batman. So it's almost like, man. I'm sure you're right. He must have heard about all the things and experienced all the things you experienced, but it's one of those like, fuck it. I'm going to fucking play ball and I'm going to do what I got to do to make my art.
Yeah. And it feels very much like, well, if I am excellent, the best that ever was, I will have the kind of power and, control, at the very least control over like my art, so that like I can do whatever I want. Like that's all I truly want in life. I just want to do what I want to do. I want to make my art, and I want to be good at it. Outside of that, please leave me alone. It felt like he got little things that would entice someone like me to be like, well, I guess if I just climb higher, if I just get to a certain level, and people will just be like, oh, like, I'll leave you alone, you can do whatever you want. And it kind of seemed that way up until now. And then his statement is really one of his statements was really revealing to me that, like, oh, I think he's realized in the same way I've realized that there's no amount of status and achievement that I could possibly get where they won't fuck me in the end. And this is very clear by all these statements that, like, no, even if you are Christopher fucking Nolan,
you are like
Warner Brothers doesn't give a shit about you.
Talent of our generation. He's amazing and clearly thinks about people who aren't in his, like, I don't know, echelon.
Yeah.
And to see him get fucked like this, and to see him not take it, you know, to see him, like, you know, really, really, really speak his mind is like, damn. I can't believe you guys did that to him.
Yeah, and it's so it's like,
damn.
What makes you think, you the audience, what makes you think that these studios give a shit about any of you when they're willing to do this to Christopher fucking Nolan? Like, that, does this not show exactly everything that I've ever said, that they don't care about you, and no matter how high you climb in the ladder, you don't matter to them.
You know what I think? I think they think of it like the people in the music industry. They think that fucking Christopher Nolan is just a Kubrick. And you know what? In 5-10 years, another motherfucker like you's gonna pop up, and you're gonna be old news, and we're gonna prop that director up, and you're old fucking news, and this new Christopher Nolan, this new Kubrick is the new guy. They know that all they have to do is find the talent and amplify it. Yeah. And, like, to see Nolan get fucked like this. Denny, we're going to get into his quote. Denny Villeneuve, who directed The Arrival. Our favorite movie of his is Prisoners, like one of his very first movies. And he's directing Dune, and it's fucking crazy. He's really, really angry too.
Mm-hmm. Man. But I also find it fascinating who doesn't speak up. Because it's interesting that only the directors whose movies are affected are saying something. What about all the other big, powerful A-list directors?
Spielberg at Universal, Brad Bird at Paramount. Where are they? They're like, we'll be fine.
Yeah. Or, like, we don't want to rock the boat.
Right. Best stay out of this.
Yeah.
But when it, like, comes knocking on their doorstep.
Yeah. Then they'll finally say something. And it's just like, there's an aspect of all of this that is selfish as well. Like, if you know anything about money and how all this money stuff works, you read it with that lens. All these statements with that lens. It's like, oh, everyone's just saying, you're losing me money, Warner Brothers, you're making me lose money, how dare you. Like, that's basically what all of this is.
I will read Denis Villeneuve.
Okay.
So this is a direct written statement from Denis Villeneuve to Variety. Streaming can produce great content, but not movies of Dune's scope and scale. Warner Brothers' decision means Dune won't have the chance to perform financially in order to be viable, and piracy will ultimately triumph. WB might have just killed the Dune franchise. This is one for the fans. AT&T's John Stankey. Stanky? John Stanky? Wait, let me read that right. AT&T's John Stanky. Hey, Stanky! Anyway, John Stanky said that the streaming horse left the barn. In truth, the horse left the barn for the slaughterhouse. I strongly believe the future of cinema will be on the big screen, no matter what any Wall Street dilettante says. Cinema on the big screen is more than a business. It's an art form that brings people together, celebrating humanity, embracing our empathy for one another. It's one of the very last artistic, in-person, collective experiences we share as human beings. And forever how, like, you know, flowery and poetic that sounds in the end, that makes me like the cinema goer go, yeah, fucking tell him, Danny. You fucking tell him. You fucking fight for this fucking thing. This thing that it seems as though nobody gives a shit about anymore. Moving pictures. It's just like, fucking 100 years ago, people were freaking out because they thought a train was approaching them, but it was just a movie. And now people are just watching their fucking movies on the fucking phone, and they don't give a shit. This used to be fucking magic. Now it's just whatever. I'm pointing at my phone. Old man yelling at cloud.
Yeah, basically.
Like this fucking dinosaur. Shut the fuck up.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Like, yeah. I mean, it's like, I think it's, we talked about this. We talked about this in the Saving Hollywood thing.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about, like, this is a very, very important art form that is near and dear to us. Very visual people. So, like, I've been getting into music and stuff, and it seems as though a lot of people who are really great musicians started off in their family with, like, really good musicians. They were just exposed to all this amazing ear stimulation. And I'm just thinking lately, like, man, you and I have been attracted to visuals ever since we were little kids.
Yeah.
And it's just like, when we watch something by Denny or Nolan, or even, like, I loved Wonder Woman, and it's kind of amazing. Like, I get to watch these things in a theater, and now it's kind of like over. I kept saying in this podcast, the way we see movies and the way we consume movies is going to be different. Yeah. It's not going to be the same anymore. We're not going to have these crazy Infinity War style openings anymore. Man, I remember I used to like stay up till midnight just to watch something like Prometheus or 300 or something. Damn.
I do think it's nice in a way, like the artist's principled soul in me does appreciate that, even no matter how high you climb in some kind of social ladder, corporate ladder, if your sole job is to be an artist, I think that if you want to be an excellent artist, you tend to think this way. Like, you crafted this art, and you worked so hard to get to this place, and you made your movie to be seen in a certain way, to have a certain experience when you watch it, and you do all this, and like, in a way, I feel like these directors are risking some things by, you know, speaking out against the studio that hired them.
Essentially biting the hand that's feeding them.
Yeah. And I think every artist has that in them when you fuck with their art enough. So, like, yeah, like, you want to make fun of, like, someone like me all you want, that, like, I really am, like, slightly more principled than the normal human about that kind of stuff, and I truly was like, fuck, why do I need to work at Disney in order to, you know, make art? I can do that on my own with it, probably, like, in a happier space, because they're not, like, controlling everything. And you think you somehow got that by working in the system, and lo and behold, they can just take control completely away from you and be like, hey, we're just gonna put your movie on a place.
Man, I bet all of you thought we were fucking joking when we said sometimes you find bad shit about your job. You know, if you work in Hollywood, you find out bad shit about your job on the news before, like, you were even fucking told in the studio. You're just, like, fucking minding your own business, drawing, you know, not a care in the world, and all of a sudden, oh, the show shut down because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what?
Wait, that's my show.
That's my show.
And then, like, this is, like, Christopher Nolan found out about his job in the news.
No,
Patty
yes.
Jenkins.
Don't think that there was a conference telling everyone this is what we're planning to do. Don't think that they were all in one big Zoom call together saying, oh, this is going to be how we're going to move forward. This was just done without their consent.
Yeah.
And behind their backs.
Yeah, they just
100% behind their backs. So when you say, what makes you think they're not going to fuck with you when they fuck with literally the biggest artists of all time? You know?
Yeah. That's like the most visible in our industries.
It's right there.
Yeah, they're
like,
doing
it's so obvious for everyone to see and watch. Like, The Last of Us Left should just get while the getting's good, because this is looking
Sad,
bad
yeah.
and sad.
Eating their own.
I know. God. Man. Nolan fucking made Batman and shit. He made that, like, he revived that shit.
Mm-hmm.
He set the tone for whatever WE was about to do with the superheroes. And it's just like, damn, they fucked him. But then there's Wonder Woman, 1940 something.
1984? 1987? I don't remember.
1984. Wonder Woman 1984, I think. Yes. So that is... So Patty Jenkins' situation is interesting because she's kind of done. Like, she finished Wonder Woman. They had this sort of discussion and agreement, actually, with the theater. An actual negotiation. So Patty Jenkins says to Variety, when every single studio in town starts chasing the exact same thing, you're like, why doesn't someone differentiate themselves? In this case, I think what's going to happen is some studio is going to be smart enough to be an outlier, and all the great filmmakers in town are going to go there, and the theaters are going to favor their movies. Because right now, if there are studios that announce that releasing day and date on streaming is what they're going to start doing, every filmmaker is going to head to the studio that promises they're not going to. I think there's a sentiment right now that change is coming and there's nothing you can do about it, and I think that doesn't take into consideration the artists who can very much united artists it up and make a big change. That's really interesting because we said something very, very similar recently when we were talking about what normal people can start doing if you fucking hate Hollywood, to fight the machine, which is fucking make your own Hollywood from wherever you live, whichever state you live in this great country of ours. Mm-hmm. So, and then she also echoes the whole thing about how we talk about how independent studios are going to be really big because they have they give their artists a lot more freedom. And then what she's saying at the end here, I wonder if she is thinking about A24. And like, this is a recipe to give like that studio who like guarantee when you see, you know, when you watch a movie, you often think, oh, it's going to be a great movie because of the director or the actor or the screenwriter. You know, when you're watching an A24 movie, a much smaller production company compared to something like Universal or WB. When you see an A24 movie, you know it's going to be really good. And man, if enough studios piss off directors like this, you're just handing independent studios just all the best talent. And man, imagine what somebody like Patty Jenkins or Denny or Christopher Nolan, what they would do in a no hand-holdy studio like A24, where they're not thinking about merchandising or the bottom line or market share or censorship or how do we please China.
I actually have the opposite opinion of you, where I don't have as much of an optimistic view of artists, people. I don't think they're that principled. I don't think they're that brave, because clearly that like I have done what I've done and have like harped on all the things I harped on, and it kind of feels like it falls on deaf ears a lot of the times, and especially what I've seen in the world all of this year. I just feel like artists will complain, and like I call these directors artists because it's like a more experienced version of us, basically. Like you work hard enough, eventually you'll get there. So I imagine like they were all like us at one point. And just like I look at my peers and I look at myself and I look at all the people I've ever worked for, and I go like, would they stand up and risk their jobs and do something other than just complain and like, you know.
So we talked about how guild negotiations in the animation studios are coming up. So,
yeah.
And just us predicting like, oh, nothing's gonna happen.
No, nothing. Just like, so like all of this like flowery, like, I'm so mad, I'm such an artist, my stuff belongs in the cinema and theater and all this shit. Just like, yeah, but what are you gonna do? Are you going to stop working for Warner Brothers? Are you gonna stop making movies for Warner Brothers? Are you gonna go start an independent studio somewhere? Are you actually going to put stuff on the line, or are you going to chase after that Oscar, or are you going to get paid like millions of dollars, because they will still pay you millions of dollars, and to keep you fat and happy? Like I feel like I would have felt more optimistically, like, yeah, us artists, we're gonna rise up and we're gonna like be principled and we're gonna like do great things because we're artists. We care about certain things. And at this point, I'm like, no, I don't think they're gonna do jack shit. And I don't think when the Animation Guild negotiates for, you know, all this new media streaming stuff again, for I think been trying to the past every 3 years we have in negotiations, you guys aren't gonna do jack shit. So I have been listening to a book called Atomic Habits recently, and it's really helped me become more productive and a more efficient human being. And I know we're all looking to accomplish more things in the new year. Why not start now? And if you don't already have an Audible subscription, head over to audibletrial.com/the Honey and Absinthe podcast for your free trial. You will get 1 free audiobook or 2 free Audible original audiobooks. So head over to audibletrial.com/the Honey and Absinthe podcast.
So directors aren't the only people who are livid by this entire COVID situation. Actors are losing it too. And now we have audio from one of America's finest, Mr. Tom Cruise, whom I love so much. Every Mission Impossible movie has topped the previous Mission Impossible movie, and those movies just get better and better and better. Here is Tom Cruise on the set of Mission Impossible 7. Let's go!
Because they believe in us and what we're doing! I'm on the phone with every studio at night, insurance companies, producers, and they're looking at us and using us to make their movies. We are creating thousands of jobs, you I don't ever want to see it again. Ever. And if you don't do it, you're fired. And I see you do it again, you're gone. And anyone on this crew does it. That's it. And you too, and you too, and you. Don't you ever do it again. That's it. No apologies. You can tell it to the people that are losing their homes because our industry is shut down. It's not going to put food on their table or pay for their college education. That's what I sleep with every night.
Tom Cruise with a heavy heart. Very, very heavy heart.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Heavy, heavy heart. So it seems as though Paramount is using MI7 as a standard for how they're going to approach making movies during all of this. And apparently it's driving the production insane. It clearly is driving. So as we were, looking up this news again, we read that there's a ton of people who are just saying fuck it, not coming to work.
Walked out
on the set. Yeah. Yikes, which is not a good look. And
nope.
I'm already expecting Mission Impossible 7 to be a letdown because this isn't looking good. Which sucks because I really love those first 6 movies. Holy shit, man. Mission Impossible 6. Whoo, the helicopter shit, man. Whoo, the skydiving shit, man. Whoo, the fight in the fucking bathroom, man. Whoo, the fucking Tom Cruise running across the thing, then running up the stairs, fucking grabbing onto the elevator, and then this amazing shot of like him standing on top of this really high building in a helicopter, fucking whizzing away. Damn awesome fucking movie. Yeah. Mission Impossible 6, fuck yeah. That's what it's called. Mission Impossible 6, fuck yeah.
Whatever you want to say about Tom Cruise, he gives Mission Impossible like 1,000% every time.
I respect Tom Cruise so much, and I think he's a fucking crazy person.
He is, yes.
And that is why he makes the amazing art that he makes.
You can't be excellent
I
without being
appreciate
a little
crazy.
intense.
Yes.
When you explained that to me, Paramount's using the
Am I wrong for assuming that? Because like it sounds as though that's what he's saying. It sounds as though there's like investors and people who are like really worried, like, do you think the movie's gonna be okay? Do you think we're gonna get lawsuits because of COVID? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of pressure for Mr. Tom Cruise, who is also the producer for all the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah, that changed my opinion of what I thought that outburst was. To me, it kind of seems like he's been under a lot of pressure and a lot of lack of sleep and a lot of things, and I can imagine myself snapping like that I don't know.
Also, he's Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's Tom Cruise. He's Tom fucking Cruise. Okay? So there's that.
Okay.
But you're right. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. But I don't know for sure that's what that is. It could just he's an asshole. That could be it
He's
too.
on drugs, so who knows?
Or who knows? And I was joking.
Oops.
And kind of not joking, that I was like, man, if I were on the crew and Tom Cruise, but like I'm a special case, okay? I have a short fuse, let's say, when someone is yelling at me. I'm kind of like a little chihuahua. I'm not threatening.
Janet has a lot of bark.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of yap.
Yeah. And people look at me like that.
Yeah. You should see how when Janet goes off on the security people at comic conventions. Oh my god, it's like, babe. I don't want you to go to prison. This person doesn't get paid enough to deal with your bullshit. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, this is basically how the conversation went. I was like, man, I think if Tom Cruise yelled at me like that, I'd probably be like, well, fuck you then. I fucking quit. Like, you want to fire me? You want to threaten me like that? Who the fuck do you think you are? You're a human being, just like all of us. I don't care how much power you think you have over everyone. Fuck you. And, but that's just me. And,
well, I mean, like, people in Hollywood, they don't have the guts. So their way of retaliating was to walk out of set.
Yeah.
That's their
or not come into work.
Not
the
come
next
into
day.
work. That's their way of saying fuck you, because they don't have the ganas to actually stand up for themselves.
God, I think I would have been like, I don't care who the fuck you think you are. I don't care how much money you're worth and all this shit. You're an asshole. I'm a human being.
Oh my god, it would make like everybody in the crew want to buy you a beer if you stood up to your asshole producer, because everybody fantasizes about it. Come on, give me a break. Like, everybody fantasizes about it. We know the story where it has happened.
I've been like, okay then. Like, big man, you are firing a lonely, I don't know, PA or whatever, whoever that was. Big man, you're Tom Cruise, you're worth so much. Oh, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, there was a story like that in Disney where someone was like bitching at a director who was like, not cool.
So, there was an incident once, in a certain crew that I am aware of happening, where like this director in particular was kind of, unreasonable.
To put it lightly.
Rude, yes. And just a whole lot, just drove people insane. And, basically got shouting matches, by like a former friend, like other person on the crew. And it's just, I'm being vague enough where I think a lot of people might know someone who, like, or know that this has happened before, and I might be talking about a completely different crew. So, like, this is fairly common.
This is common?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I guess what I'm trying to say. It's just, this stuff happens a lot. And no one says anything or does anything about it. They just kind of take it. And I think the only reason why this was reported is because it's Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah. The Directors Guild put out a statement saying, "It is an understatement to say the Guild was taken aback by the lack of transparency exhibited by Warner Media regarding this significant decision, which is contrary to both the long-standing relationship between the DGA and Warner Brothers and explicit representations made by senior executives to the DGA on this very issue. Warner Media's reversal on theatrical release patterns not only restricts our members' ability to have their films seen in the manner in which they were intended, it also affects their income. With respect to the latter, the DGA's residuals formula for feature films are based upon a percentage of gross receipts paid to the director, in some instances members of the directorial team, and our pension plans. We are aware Warner Brothers has made a proposal on how it intends to impute a license fee for the HBO Max simultaneous release for the purposes of determining profit participations. That proposal would result in an unacceptable and inadequate valuation for the license fee. While the conversations with our members, agents, and representatives may focus on profit participation and similar issues, we want to be clear that the proposal, as we understand it, is inadequate as it relates to residuals payments and is unacceptable to the DGA. So this statement they're not all that concerned with the artistic merit and all that shit. They just care about money. And the directors, by proxy, I guess, of the Directors Guild, was basically like, hey, what about our residuals? What about our royalties? That's not fair that you get to, like, keep all your millions and, like, we get the short end of the stick and we want some. That's basically what that was. I think it's just so telling. Like, unions also are kind of like businesses, and their motives and what they desire is money at the end of the day. Why am I not surprised? Yeah. They don't care about the theaters. They don't care about all the jobs that this might affect. They don't care about anyone else in the pipeline. They're just like, what about our money? Because if you just solve that, we'll be fine. You know, no more complaining from us. That's artists in a nutshell. That's our union sometimes too. And it's just it is what it is.
Well, Hollywood's great. We pay really well. We have free lunches, some Netflix, DreamWorks free lunches, and you get to put where you work in your bio and get tons of followers. Anyway, Disney's lineup, looking good. Don't worry, everyone. Don't be worried. We got this. We have Star Wars prequels and B-list Marvel movies. Woo! We're gonna beat 2021. We are gonna start start on the right foot with the Loki movie. Exciting, absolutely exciting. Loki.
Thought he died.
Yeah, I thought the whole point of killing him off in what is that? What is it? Infinity War. I thought the whole point of killing him in Infinity War was to prove to everybody, oh, people die now. Clearly, that's not true.
Yeah, I mean that was the main criticism for Marvel versus
Forever
DC.
that
Yeah.
like everything is like nothing means anything because there's no stakes. You know, when someone gets eliminated or offed or whatever, storyline ends, it never really ends because they could just bring it back whenever they want. And now they're bringing back like Spider-Man villains from like the different Spider-Man movies, and now it's just like, oh my god, it's like the multiverse is just an excuse to scrape the barrel.
Yeah, to be like, oh, I know we killed them off, but resurrect them. Yeah.
Multiverse.
Nothing matters.
Multiverse. It's gonna be interesting. We're gonna bring out characters that you've never seen before. You never cared about, but we're gonna somehow make you care about them.
You know what I was thinking as I was watching the, I guess, announcement of the lineup of Star Wars movies, Marvel movies, shows, whatever, all the stuff that's coming out on Disney Plus. I was like, does anyone care anymore? I feel like this is like the ringing of the towel of like, let's get every last drop of those 80s kids. Let's really like milk them dry. Because I felt like this all seems like a really big push to get people to get on Disney Plus. And if I were making decisions, I'd be scratching my head and be like, okay, so it seems like people really like Mandalorian. Let's just make more of that in a way. The problem is I was thinking really hard about like, why do I feel like Disney Plus, like this is just a gut prediction. I don't know why I feel this, but why do I feel like Disney Plus isn't going to be all that successful? Because it's not profitable yet. Like they're losing money still on it, and they're Disney. What's the difference between that and even Netflix? And I am not someone who gives in to social pressure very often at all, and it took me like House of Cards, Orange is the New Black, Stranger Things, so many things had to have come out, and people were talking about it at the water cooler every time you went into work. The person you sat next to would
you had to watch these things.
Yeah,
you had to.
You kind of had to, and until all those things were practically almost done, did I finally cave and get Netflix because of social pressure. Same thing with Game of Thrones. And that's when I realized, like, oh, that social pressure doesn't exist anymore. Because we don't go into work. We don't go into school. We're all working or we're living remotely now. When do you get that social pressure of like, oh, have you watched the latest Star Wars show? The one that's based off of Mandalorian, but isn't Mandalorian, or blah, blah, blah. And you're like, no. But, for different people, it takes a different amount of social pressure. Do most people even have, like, one person that they talk to regularly from work these days? Like, or do we all just work separately? And we watch what we watch because we like it. Not because someone, like we talked to someone, our friends at work, and went like, everyone's watching this, I guess I gotta watch this too.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Who do you think Disney's trying to target with this lineup? Because I feel like they're just going after the 30-year-olds and older who are really into this kind of thing. Because all the people who are young are just into anime.
Yeah.
And I just don't see how Disney can, like, so we both have younger siblings who are basically Gen Z.
Yeah, they're far younger than us.
Yeah, they're super, for some reason we just have siblings who are super young. And for whatever reason, those kids don't give a fuck about Mandalorian.
No.
They do not care. They just don't care. You know what they give a shit about? They give a shit about fucking Demon Slayer and fucking My Hero Academia. And if you don't know what those things are, it sucks to be you.
You're kind of old.
Yeah, you're kind of fucking old.
And you are out of touch. You can be old and very in touch. Like people who tend to have kids would probably know, or if you have younger siblings, you probably would know. If you are just aware, I feel like the only reason we know, one, is because we have younger siblings, and we're more like, we don't look at younger people with a lens of like, oh, you're young, I will just disregard you and your opinions. We go like, hey, cool, whatever, you like that, that's cool, I guess. And so when we got into TikTok, we felt that way too. It's like, oh, who cares if like, it's kind of weird that to them, we're not old, but we're considered boomers to them, but like I appreciate like whatever it is that they like and whatever it is that they do.
Yeah, you said good business people always are looking towards what those youngsters
like
are
15-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like if you want to be able
and
to.
are those kids like just huddling together talking about, oh, the Mandalorian, baby fucking Yoda?
No.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't care.
They're like fucking, what are they doing? They're fucking like plus ultra and shit.
Yeah.
Kajibushi no Jitsu.
Oh my god, you're such a boomer.
Kajibushi no Jitsu. What? The kids don't like that anymore?
No.
What is that? They don't like the Naruto?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Damn.
I don't think so. Yeah.
So anime is so fucking old. There's like an older generation of anime people.
Yes.
We are the older generation of
Yes.
anime people.
Yes.
What I've been complaining. So I guess we can. So basically, what I wanted to say about the Disney thing is just like I just don't see how young people give a shit anymore.
No.
And this anime thing, I've loved anime all my life ever since I was like a kid, just watching Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z because it was on Channel 9 and like there's nothing else to watch. I didn't even understand it was anime until so much later on. These fucking kids. You know what my fucking life was as a young anime fan? I didn't have fucking internet, so I had to go to the library and watch the fucking anime VHSs. I had to wait for anime to come out. I had to wait for the filler episodes of Naruto and the OG series of Fullmetal Alchemist. I had to wait for all of these things to come out. I had to wait years when anime was fucking garbage for like a lot of my college life until Attack on Titan came out and there was like this huge golden age revival of anime, which was fucking great. These fucking kids, you know what they get to do? They get to turn on Crunchyroll, whatever anime service, and fucking just go buck wild and just explore the vast, amazing world that is anime.
Yeah.
And they don't have to wait. They don't have to wait for bullshit filler or whatever. They just have the entire anime just library at their at their disposal. And guess fucking what? There isn't enough anime for 5 pandemics. There's like so much fucking anime. You'd like to be able to watch One Piece. That's like one pandemic. Like you could watch One Piece for a long time. And I'm just saying, like, why are kids gonna watch Manda fucking Lorian when they can fucking watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, when they can watch Evangelion on Netflix, when they can watch Demon Slayer, which is like taking the world by storm, like literally.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about Demon Slayer?
So
Demon Slayer, holy shit, guys! It's this amazing, beautiful anime.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta check it out.
Demon Slayer is an anime that is very beautiful, and it recently a movie, Demon Slayer the movie, came out in Japan, and it's I think 4th or 5th in the worldwide box office.
Also, too, Demon Slayer is on the rise. So it is still earning money, and as far as we saw from last week's box office report, it is hot on the tail of WB's Tenet. So imagine that.
Yeah.
An anime movie about to make as much money or more than WB's big, fantastical Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah.
Anime is huge.
It's huge.
Anime is huge.
The last time that happened was Spirited Away.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like our generation's awakening to
That was
anime.
a big deal. Yeah.
Now it's Demon Slayer and My Hero, and like when all the literally, like the best way I could describe the zeitgeist and how like the young generation are obsessed with anime is kind of like when Marvel movies started coming out, and everyone suddenly became a comic book fan, and then there were actual comic book enthusiasts who were like, hey, that's weird that like normies are into comic books, because I grew up during a time where I was made fun of for reading comic books. You can't, people like, no, you can't, it's my thing. That kind of like thing is kind of how we feel now. I'm looking at like all the 15-year-olds, and like I can tell the 15-year-old that used to be like me, just kind of like weird, nerdy, likes anime, and then the jock who's pretending to like anime, and I'm like, you would have bullied me in high school. What the heck?
So my friend who would tease me in high school about liking anime, just tease me about the most ridiculous things us cringy anime weebs like to do, and then he's just laughing at me again now, and now he's going, wow, look at your fucking brother's generation, anime is like the biggest fucking thing for them, and then guess what, we just fucking made fun of you all the time when you were their age. Isn't it tragic that their generation, there's like, they celebrate this fucking thing that you don't even really care about anymore? I just thought it was like, that is very true. It's like, it's kind of, you know, I thought it would never happen. I saw how the fucking Ninja Turtle motherfuckers, 80s kids, G.I. Joe people, I saw how Hollywood wrung them dry. They really, really, really wrung them dry. And like, Disney fucking thinks that they could keep doing this with Disney Plus. We'll see if I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I would be fascinated to see like they somehow keep getting the 80s kids to pay for their shit. But like, at the same time, I see my brother's fucking generation, and it's just anime. Fucking like, these executives don't fucking get it. Do they not know who Kanye West is? Fucking Thundercat is wearing Evangelion nodes on his fucking head.
Doja Cat
is dressing
Sailor Moon.
Right. Like, anime is so huge. It's staring people right in the fucking face.
That's where the culture is.
Yeah.
And I recently heard some person basically insult Kanye in a just really like ill-informed
on Tim's show?
way. And I was just kind of like, I forgive you because you're kind of old and ill-informed, but that's kind of a really, really, really dumb thing to say. Like, just phenomenally dumb.
About Kanye?
About Kanye.
Wait, what did she say?
She said, like, she doesn't like him because he's famous for being famous. And she thinks he's crazy. Or, like, mentally disturbed. And
that's like a lot of people in Hollywood, though.
Exactly.
That's like, oh, I just fucking played the fucking Tom Cruise thing.
Well, yeah. But, like, suddenly there's a different standard.
There's a different standard. Yeah, exactly. Suddenly it's okay to just fucking yell at your fucking, your production people. But, like, Kanye, oh no, he's too crazy.
Yeah. I just was like, oh, before you speak, maybe you should double check how much you know about a certain topic. Because then you'll end up sounding really, really, really dumb.
Not the way you intended.
Yeah.
With that.
But, like, when, you know, Kanye has a lot of influence, Doja Cat has a lot of influence, Thundercat, like, all the people who control the culture.
Thundercat's awesome.
They really like anime. And the younger generation really likes anime. We 90s kids really like anime.
We genuinely love this thing. And we want, like, as much as, like, I saw how Hollywood fucked the 80s kids, I want to get fucked like that. With anime, man. I want you to fucking burn what I love to the ground. I want to watch my fucking, like, Evangelion movie.
Yeah.
Directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Oh, God. Yeah, because of all of that, I was like, the social pressure.
There's a lot of social pressure with anime.
Yeah. Like, the girls these days wear their makeup like anime. E-girls act like anime characters. Rappers rap about anime.
Man, when I was little, all the girls looked like Britney Spears.
Yeah.
But all I wanted was an anime girlfriend. And, like, if you were to take past me and plot me into this present, I'd be like, wow.
Like, you mean like
Do you mean they look like anime?
they like put too much blush on and they have like the eyeliner and the like
They have really
cool.
sharp eyelashes
Yeah,
at the ends.
yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and for me, I just thought like there was a whole lot of social pressure for a very short amount of time to get Netflix. Doesn't really exist with Disney Plus because of anime.
It was a really big deal to want to get Netflix. Netflix had House of Cards, and it was the very, very first, other than Hulu, like, because Hulu's more of like, oh, we do the TV side. Netflix was like, oh yeah, we have, all these movies that you could just watch from the comfort of your home. And it was amazing. I remember the first time getting Netflix also thinking that, like, holy shit, this much choice is paralyzing.
Yeah.
But man, I remember when Netflix first came out, it was like the it thing. It was like you had to have it, and anybody who had it, you were their friend because you wanted to hang out in their house and just have a pizza party and watch Netflix. But now it's different. Now there's a million other different. There's a Netflix, basically a streaming service is what I mean. A Netflix for horror movies, a Netflix for hoity-toity art movies. There's a Netflix for literally anything under the sun now.
And it's really interesting that Netflix, I think, is kind of smart in really trying to go after anime.
Yeah, no, it's a brilliant move.
Yeah.
And the fact that they fucking got I think Netflix is the one that has Evangelion and Brotherhood. Yeah. It's like I actually don't think there's a better show for you to watch other than those two. Those are like, they have some of the greatest anime in their library. They
have Beastars. They have a bunch of different anime movies. They have a lot, surprisingly, that's really halfway decent, and I'm like, interesting.
Yeah,
and they're producing anime too, so Netflix original animes, and I'm like, wow.
And Netflix, I think Disney will never ever adopt anime because they fucking hate anime. Yeah. They fucking hate that shit.
I mean, a lot of the artists, like you and me and our peers, love it.
No, but the people who are actually running Disney hate it, though. They have like some weird personal vendetta against the thing. So it's been really interesting watching WB dabble with, like, let's say something like Pokemon. Like, I kind of classify this new anime movie, video game movie thing as the same thing. It's like, this is an entire market share that, like, hasn't really been tapped into, and it's just like, how could you not have any of you producers even like been around downtown LA when it was Anime Expo? That's your fucking, that is the those are the people who are going to fill up your fucking movie theaters if you have like an Evangelion movie directed by Denis Villeneuve.
I was saying that, like, wow, that Demon Slayer movie, 4th or 5th, like, what was it, 4th, 5th in the box office? 5th. Demon Slayer is 5th and climbing, grossing in 2020. Not in the past, in 2020. It almost made more than Tenet, and probably will, in my opinion. More than Tenet. That's kind of insane. And like, anime fans, when they love something, it's really embarrassing and cringy.
You just don't understand. You think we're like the Ninja Turtle motherfuckers.
No, we're
you
worse.
Think like we're the G.I. Joe motherfuckers. We make those nerdy people look like the most classy people on the planet. There is nothing more cringy and more like just slimy than being an anime fan.
Like, they call us like weebs for a reason.
Yeah. It's interesting. Weeb it's like, otaku was like a big word back then.
Yeah. And
that was something that I felt like my generation would say with pride. There wasn't really a demeaning word for an anime fan, even though, like, isn't otaku actually a demeaning word that you could say to people in Japan?
Apparently in Japan.
Yeah. But like, when the word weeb came out, it's like the perfect like equivalent. It's like, you call somebody a weeb, it's like when you're called a otaku.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it's cringy. It's fucking like, I explained it to you. You think you look a certain way in your head that like, oh, gee, if I just wear like the Uchiha clan bullshit, or if I just wear the Naruto jumpsuit, I'd look fucking amazing. Or if I dressed up like Cloud, you've seen those.
Oh, yeah.
If I just wear Cloud's outfit and do my hair like Cloud, I'd look so cool. And then you do it, you look in the mirror, and you kind of are having cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, it's not kind of what I imagined, but it's very close. I know because I dressed up as Mugen, and I was a pretty great Mugen actually. But I was like, still in my head when I was looking in the mirror, I was like, man, this is not. This is like way not like, not even close.
We're obsessive when we
Yes.
like something, like. We love it.
anime.
And
We love anime.
when I saw the box office numbers, I was like, how much you want to bet each one of these people watched it like 10 times?
Yes. And
Like,
paid for it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's how crazy we are. We are fucking insane. And that's why I don't know why Hollywood's sleeping on us, because like I feel like we'd give them so much money.
Yeah. And I think it's funny how like when the Pokemon movie came out, all the critics like hated it, and I understand as like a movie watcher, it's not cinema,
And it's
but
batshit loony to
yeah.
anybody who doesn't know Pokemon, but to like us 90s kids,
we kind of loved it.
it was a dream come true
Yeah.
basically.
And it wasn't like a bastardization of what we love. It was definitely catering to the fans.
Yeah.
And that's why the critics hated it, and they were like, fine, I don't care, I'm still gonna pay for it.
You know what Pokemon was like? Pokemon was like the first Iron Man movie. Or it was like the first, I don't know, like really good, let's say like Spider-Man, where it's just like, oh man, you made it work, and it was a very enjoyable experience for me to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And you were loyal to the fans, and you might have, you maybe like made some people who are not into this property interested.
Yeah.
It did everything right, and I'm just like, wow, would you look at that? I'm sure that's not going to be the last one.
And it made so much money.
It made so much money. Oh, I can't wait to like watch an actual Pokemon canonized
Oh my god.
WB movie, legendary movie, whatever it is.
He's so
Oh,
cool.
let's go. Oh man, it looks so good. Man, I remember watching Pokemon in the theaters and like kind of like on the verge of weeping. I was like, this is like the
It's-
most amazing thing.
It's kind of freaky to like hear this really nostalgic music in the theaters,
Yeah.
but like in a proper score.
Yeah, in a theater.
And I am not very nostalgic at all, and I could never really understand like the comic book craze. But when I went in to watch Pokemon, I was like, my heart,
Yeah.
whoa, what is
Yeah.
it doing? Like the memories it's triggering.
It's flooding, yeah.
It's like the generation before them see them as like the kids, so then like they're like, oh, let's cater to the kids, except like they don't realize the true kids these days are like not into that anymore.
How long do you think like the anime era, the golden anime movie era will last, where like there's an HBO Full Metal Alchemist show and there's like a Denis Villeneuve Evangelion? I feel like, oh man, we could look forward to a great 3 to 5 years before Hollywood just runs it to the ground.
Well, I think one of the problems with anime movies is probably licensing or getting the rights to make it, because the creators are notoriously really careful about who they allow to touch their thing, their property, which in a way, again, is partly one of the reasons why I think anime is so popular with people, because it just seems so true to like generally one person's vision compared to like Western cartoons and entertainment. A lot of times there's just too many cooks in the kitchen, and it's trying to do so much with like trying to shoehorn politics these days and having all these agendas, and if not just that, like just everyone's fighting over certain aspects of what they want, like their stamp on a story, on a show. And but like with anime, they kind of like, the fans will like be really upset if they didn't stay true to the manga artist's story and what they wanted. Usually if they stray too far, like the fans won't like it, and then they'll crucify the studio that made it. But
Yeah.
but for the most part, like it's a story written by a person, crafted by one person, has a very strong, clear vision usually, and like I think people can tell. I think when you're watching a piece of entertainment, I think you can tell when something feels a little bit like you're trying to beat me over the head with some whatever political message, or if you're trying to, too many people touched it so it kind of feels watered down or whatever. People can tell. And I think when you have the ability to compare the two so easily, like when you're on Netflix, when a lot of the kids don't even they don't watch it through paid routes, let's just say.
Anime?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like when you can so easily just be like, this is an American cartoon or TV show, and this is a Japanese
What kid is gonna choose like Steven Universe over fucking like Full Metal Alchemist?
Yeah,
Give me
or
a fucking
Demon Slayer,
break.
yeah.
If I never had, so I remember asking myself this question to you, basically. I was like, if I had the choice to have the entire American library of cartoon shows and the entire Japanese library of anime shows and movies, what would I fucking choose to watch? Obviously the anime.
Yeah.
Obviously the anime. We're like
yeah.
fucking like I kind of outgrow American cartoons because it's so catered towards children.
Yeah.
Anime is just a league of its own. It's this entire amazing way to tell stories, and it has its own language and its own tropes and all this shit. It's like so dope. Like, why would I ever that means yes, I do love Foster's. I do love Ed, Edd and Eddy. I do love like Toy Story 2 and 3. I do love How to Train Your Dragon. But would I trade all of that for being able to watch Evangelion? You bet your fucking ass. You bet your fucking ass.
I mean, it seems like with that, like, I think Disney is producing some kind of anime Star Wars thing, is like part of their announcement, and I was like, it's like trying to get all like dipping your toe very, very slightly into the pond.
Gross, because I remember every single upper echelon person talk about anime. Every time somebody was looking at my fucking portfolio, or anytime somebody who worked for fucking Disney goes, your eyes are too big. What are you drawing, Astro Boy?
Yeah.
Just like that, I get that shit all the time. What are you drawing, Astro Boy?
Yeah. I had to actively,
like, they so don't like fucking anime, and watching them try to like dip their toes to the anime fans as a like diehard grandpa anime fan, it fucking makes my blood boil. I was like, you're fucking lying. You don't fucking like anime. You just know that this is like the fucking culture right now, and you don't have a goddamn thing to show for it.
Yeah. When I was applying for work, I was still a student at the time, but I want to say like 6-7 years ago, I was looking for work, and I was showing my portfolio to someone who worked at Disney, and they were like basically telling me like, you draw like anime and you should not do that. And I was like flabbergasted, because I was like, I've been working to not draw like anime. You mean you think I still draw like anime? And I was like, oh, so you mean I literally need to erase all of my influences, quell them to the point where like it's as if I never watched anime ever. Because I was like, I think subconsciously I didn't realize I was still drawing certain things that came across maybe a little bit like too much like Studio Ghibli, because it wasn't anime at all in my opinion, but I was like, oh, that's very a strange
It's hard to escape those proportions.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
When you've been drawing it like since you were 10 or 9 or whatever. One of the biggest things that helped me get a job was to train myself to draw like a Disney artist. basically. Like, just get rid of all of my personal originality, my personality, like
What makes you you?
What makes me me in terms of how I draw. I had to literally like go like, don't draw like that. Stop it. I know you want to, but this is how you draw for work, and this is how you draw for yourself, okay? And like and like how I drew for myself back then, it was still like animation art. Like, it wasn't like anything all that different. So I was kind of like, this is frustrating. In order to get work, I had to basically get rid of my voice, my inner voice. This other story, I was working on this show that shall not be named. I can't even talk about what it's about, because then you will know which show it is. But the director asked me to change the way certain things were drawn, and she basically told me that like the showrunner hates anime, and
Can you say which studio this is?
DreamWorks.
Oh, okay.
She hates anime, so she hates in particular a way this one storyboard artist draws. So I need you to change everything, like basically redraw all of her boards. And I was kind of like, who cares?
Yeah, because no one's gonna fucking see it.
It's just
it's
the
a fucking
aesthetic
storyboard.
of a board.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, a board is to explain a shot. It's to explain acting. It's if it does certain, like, the basic things what a storyboard is supposed to do.
Man, imagine
who cares
that.
if it's drawn like whatever.
Imagine that exec in the little kind of showing of it, going, oh, we gotta stop everything. That shit looks like anime. I don't like it.
Yeah. I was kind of shocked because I was used to, generally, our generation of people like anime, or at least like appreciate it. So like I had gotten accustomed to, like, as we get older, we start filling positions of power, I guess, where we become directors, showrunners, whatever. So I was like, dude, when I was like shopping my portfolio around, that was like the last of it that I knew of, that I personally experienced until up to that point. And then I was like, wait, I've been working for a little while now. This is a very strange criticism. And in my opinion, a waste of my time, because her boards were fine. I was like, why would you pay me to rehire the new board artist if you don't like the way that board artist draws? Like, god damn. But like, their hatred for anime was so great that they would pay me a lot of money to redraw it to not look like anime,
To make it look less anime.
yeah.
Oh my god.
What a waste of money.
Yeah, so do not believe it when you see all this shit on the Animation Guild newspaper that everyone just tosses in the trash.
Oh yeah.
All this talk about how the American animation industry gives a shit about anime. They do not. They despise that thing. They despise it. Do not, like, young artists. They are trying to lie to you. I see them do this all the time. They try to tease the anime fans into liking their thing, but it just seems so disingenuous at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think maybe one day it might actually be genuine when an actual anime lover is in control.
My brother and I had this great big philosophical discussion about, like, is Avatar the Last Airbender anime? And we both came to the conclusion, I don't want to say it, because either actually, whichever way I say this, there will be outrage, actually.
It's okay.
No, I don't want to say it. But we had, like, that's, like, you know, the discussion.
Wow, what do you guys think? I think not.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say to that. Interesting.
Do you think?
I'm not going to say anything.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, let us know if you consider Avatar The Last Airbender as an anime.
Huh. Never thought about it like that, but I don't think so.
I remember that was like a big hubbub conversation on the DeviantArt forums when I was younger, and still I can't believe still, like, fast forward 15 years or whatever, however long it's been, that, like, this is still a conversation we're having. It was pretty amazing. Makes you think.
I'm really thinking. Well, anyways, while looking at the Demon Slayer grossing movies of the year, so far, I mean, Wonder Woman and certain other movies could change things up in top grossing movies of 2020, but seeing the list as it is now, the top 10 movies, I noticed something that was a little bit disturbing to me. So
is it something? Could it be something really good for America?
No, of course not.
Let me pee.
Okay, so I noticed there are 1, 2, 3, 4 movies in the top 10 grossing box office of 2020 that are Chinese movies. And I only noticed because I was like, what are these movies? I haven't heard of them in my life. And I looked them up and I saw that they're Chinese movies, Chinese made. And I watched some of the trailers because I was curious.
What do you think?
It's really good.
Whoa.
And the thing is, like, I'm used to seeing some Chinese movies, and for the longest time, they can't really compare to big Hollywood movies. But the thing is, ever since I started art school and then got hired and then worked, I noticed that China really likes to poach people from Hollywood to go work for them, and they can offer a whole lot more money and a whole lot more status, because when you are, it takes a while sometimes for someone to be given the director title, because sometimes some people have to like retire before that happens, because there's only so many people who can fill those roles. But a lot of the times, a lot of people jump ship from places like Disney, let's say, to like an independent studio because they'll finally be able to direct or whatever. And China knows this, and they will poach a lot of talent from Hollywood to basically teach all the Chinese to do your jobs. And DreamWorks...
It's like that thing from Breaking Bad where Jesse basically knows how to make the blue stuff, and then Gustavo takes him to the Mexico factory, and then basically teach them how to make the blue stuff.
Yeah,
it's that kind of thing.
And this would actually happen at DreamWorks too, where like there would literally be people who occasionally throughout the year would fly out to China to the I forgot, Shanghai DreamWorks or what we have like teams, animation teams there, where they will go and train them basically. And it wasn't beyond me to notice and to be like basically training them to take our jobs, or to take your own job. And for the most part, I was like, okay, if this keeps happening, these Chinese movies that, you know, can't really compare to Hollywood, but China has always wanted Hollywood. They wanted their version of Hollywood. I tell you, Chinese know full well the importance of culture. It's called the Cultural Revolution. And they understand the power of Hollywood. And I mean, granted, all these movies are like war movies because the Chinese love their war movies.
Your dad loves war movies.
My dad loves war movies. He loves Saving Private Ryan.
Black Hawk Down.
Yeah, oh yeah. And they're all war movies, but watching the trailer, I was like, oh, these
they look like fun to watch.
These look like Hollywood movies now.
Legitimately fun to watch,
yeah.
And like bigger than like a Netflix production. You know, like this looks like a Hollywood joint,
yeah.
a real one with a real big budget.
It's crazy. I was like not expecting that level of quality, and I was like,
whoa.
In terms of acting, in terms of directing, in terms of budget, and what they're capable of now with like CG and cinematography, I was like, oh, interesting. So you mean the top grossing movie of 2020 is The 800, Number 1 is a Chinese movie. Number 2 is a Chinese movie. My People, My Homeland. Number 8, Jiangziya. I'm not sure if I don't know which pronunciation that they have because it's in English. But is number 8. I think number 10, Sacrifice. I'm not sure if it shouldn't be the 2019 one because this is grossing 2020. So I think that is also a Chinese movie. So 4 movies of the top 10 grossing of 2020 are all Chinese war movies.
And Demon Slayer.
And Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer.
The only
the little anime that could. The little anime movie that could. Come on. Go get it. Get it, Demon Slayer.
The only Hollywood movie is Bad Boys for Life, Tenet, Sonic the Hedgehog, Dolittle, and Birds of Prey. Like, really? That's that should be frightening, especially after seeing the quality of these movies. I was like, damn, China wants to be Hollywood, and they are succeeding during the pandemic. That's a little bit scary. Just so you know.
But everything's fine.
Just so you know.
Our president will take good care of us.
Yeah. Dilo Biden.
Dilo Biden will take
great care of us.
Yes.
For our recommendation of this week, we are recommending King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Yes, I discovered, or I found, or maybe the Gizzard found me. This amazing band about like 3 or 4 years ago. We're still living in the apartment, and I barely got Spotify. I held out for a long time. I was like, oh, fine. Because like I wasn't using my iPod anymore, and I really wanted to listen to music, especially since we started to go to the gym. And then I was like, oh, okay, fine, I'll try out this Spotify. And Spotify had like a playlist for all the new up and coming rock bands, and I was like meh until Nonagon Infinity open the door, Nonagon Infinity open the door, wait for the man, and I was like, what is this? This is like heaven to my ears. And I heard this band, and I looked at like, what is this band? What is this amazing frenetic band? And then the title of the band was so long it couldn't like fit, so it was scrolling, and it was like Lizard Wizard, what? And then it was like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and I was like, whoa, what is this? And it's like this band, this Australian band that has a shit ton of members, 2 drummers like the Allman Brothers, what the fuck? And then they are this psych rock band. I don't know what the fuck is going on in Australia, why they have so many psych rock bands. But they have been very, very prolific for the past like 3 or 4 years. And when I first discovered them in 2017, they released like 4 or 5 albums. It was insane. They released an album like every 3 months or something like that. It was insane.
Yeah.
And their newest album, KG, came out. And yeah, they are just phenomenal, and they release everything and produce everything and do everything themselves. Like, they have their own label, and they make their own music videos, and everything's just very DIY. They're all very, very talented, quirky people, and they are one of my biggest inspirations. I think they're the greatest rock band alive right now, in my humble opinion, whatever that fucking means. But like, I think they're just incredible. And if you want to start listening to them, if you like rock and roll, if you already have like a good palate and taste for rock and roll, highly recommend to listen to the album. The first album I listened to theirs, Nonagon Infinity. This thing is just like a powerhouse of a record, just phenomenal. There's the band. Oh my God. Just a bunch of great, handsome looking fellows, just, you know, salt of the earth, Australian men. Is that what they are? Australian men. Australia. Aussie. But yeah, I've been teaching you how to listen to music well. And like I said in the previous podcast before, had you listen to some White Stripes and some Rage Against the Machine and some Radiohead and all these bands, and I'm just trying to slowly introduce this stuff to you. And you would always hear me listening to this fucking crazy ass band, and then you would be like, what is this nonsense? Yeah. But now that you finally like went through like a good 6 months of listening to music critically, I'm like, okay, let's listen to King Gizzard. And then what you think?
So far, my music history lessons that you give me every morning when we go on a run, I like Radiohead a lot. I understand now why everyone likes Radiohead. And when I listen to King Gizzard, they're kind of like the next Radiohead in my opinion.
Oh my god, people are gonna kill you.
That's
People
okay.
are gonna find you and kill you.
That's okay.
Oh, that's okay. That's just like every day for you.
But like I think are true artists because they are independent. They are didn't they make their own music festival?
Yeah. Like GIzzFest.
Yeah.
Some people call it JizzFest.
And I was just like, man, that's crazy. They made this band full of really, really talented people. They made their own label. They made their own music. They made their own music festival, and they're making an album every single year.
At least, yeah.
That's crazy. They're crazy and like amazing, and I really like their music. The reason why I say they're kind of like Radiohead is it's when I listen to them, it makes me imagine things.
Makes you want to draw. Makes you want to make art.
It makes me. It's very like not. I think storytelling is the wrong word. It's just it evokes a mood, and it makes you imagine all sorts of crazy things in the way like Radiohead does. Like most songs don't really do that. It makes you feel something, but
not a lot of bands stimulate your imagination.
Yeah. So sometimes I'd be running and I'd be really listening to the songs. Like I really like Murder of the Universe.
Yeah, so recommend Murder of the Universe, the album.
I really like
Talk about that album. What is it? What why is that one special?
That one's special because it's kind of like a narration of the murder of the universe. There's a narrator, there's the god of lightning, there's Hentai Yumi, there's the Balrog. It's fun, and I listened to it, and before I knew it, I like ran 2 miles without stopping, and because I was just like in a movie. There was a movie playing behind my eyes, and I could have gotten hit by a car. And yeah, they're great. I really like them.
Yeah. So listen to their stuff, and don't listen to Murder of the Universe until you feel comfortable with it, with the band, because it's kind of insane.
Yeah.
But man, it's such a story. But yeah, really hope you like that podcast. Click the like over there. Leave a comment about how much you want to work in animation, want to work in Hollywood. Such a great industry.
Check out honeyandabsinthe.com to buy our merch if you would like to help support this channel. Check out these other videos over here to binge listen to our podcast. Bye-bye.